Hey everybody, welcome back to the Overwatch Report. Tonight, we're covering the Vancouver Titans.
Yes, aka Old RunAway.
Old RunAway. Yeah, I actually watched, I want to give a shout out to Dividing by Zero. He has a really good documentary almost on the RunAway, their history, and how they won contenders, and it's really cool. So definitely go check that video out. He doesn't need a shout out from us, but maybe there's one or two people who don't know about him and who are watching this video who would want to go check it out, because it's certainly worth your time. And some self-promotion before we get into it. Make sure you go check out one of our newest videos released last week, where Jenny edited together a stream highlight of us just going all DPS trying to win a match. It was a lot of fun, and I think Jenny did a tremendous job with the edit, and I think you'll like it.
You want to talk about the Jeff Kaplan hype comment that's come out that he's made?
Yeah, this is kind of a good off-topic section that I've got us on, so why not?
Well, this is also sort of on topic, right? Because if the meta changes, that changes a lot of the
everything we've said.
Right, yeah, everything that we've talked about up until now, it goes completely out the window.
Listen, guys, I know that we spent a lot of time and Ben did a ton of research, but if this happens, just forget about it. Ben, what did Jeff say?
So he came out on a forum post, I believe, on the official Battle.net forums, and basically said that they're working on a big balance patch, and that it could come out as early as a week or so from now. On top of that, he also plugged some kind of surprise. I don't know what the surprise is, so we'll see. But this is interesting timing, because this is basically the end of the contenders playoffs are happening right now, and Overwatch League starts in about a month. In 3 or so weeks, we have preseason games starting, from my understanding. So it's very interesting timing. There's a lot of people who are speculating that this could massively change the meta going into season 2. So we'll see.
This is like Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, coming out and being a month, right when the preseason starts, being like, hey guys, maybe no field goal posts this season. I don't know. Maybe you'll have to see.
got a surprise for you.
Yeah. Ooh, it's gonna be great. Oh man. All right. Well, we don't know what the surprise is gonna be. It's possible that by the time this comes out, a lot of stuff has changed, but that's not going to stop us. Ben, let's get into the coaches, starting off with Pei-Jong.
So Pei-Jong is a coach from Fusion University, and he led Fusion University in Contender Season 1 and 2 to back-to-back first-place finishes in NA Contenders. He's a great coach. He was actually more of a secondary coach in Season 1 up until the point where Arrow left the team to go work for the Dallas Fuel. And after that, he took over, and he continued leading the team to dominance. Whether or not it's his coaching specifically, or just the strength of the team as a whole that led to the Fusion, because the Fusion University team is still doing great in Season 3, even without him. They're still the best NA Contenders team, even with him not there. So it's hard to say that. It's hard to say whether it's his coaching specifically, but he definitely is a good coach, especially when he has a good team to lead, and he luckily has a good team to lead here. So I think that he'll be very good.
Awesome. And for this team, there is a little bit of familiarity with the players and the other coach. Ben, do you want to talk about him for a little bit?
Yeah, so the other coach coming on is Young One from RunAway. Obviously, the whole roster from the Titans, other than one player, is the old RunAway roster from Korean Contenders. So after Runner, who started the team and was a coach of the team after he stepped away as a player, left the team to go into the military, Young One took up the more hands-on coaching role. And it was at that point where they kind of skyrocketed to the success that they have had in the last year and a half, 2 years. And he is I would say, primarily responsible for coaching them to their Korean Contender Season 2 first place finish. So he's definitely has a familiarity with the team. He's worked with them for a long time. He has good chemistry with the players. He's a proven competent coach.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to go into the players first? Or do you want to talk a little bit about the history of RunAway?
I think we have to talk about the history of RunAway just because this is RunAway. Like, this team is the Contenders team plus one player, like you said. So let's talk a little bit about the history of RunAway.
Yeah, do you want to talk about it a little bit? Because I know you said that you kind of looked into it a little bit. So maybe you...
so I watched Dividing by Zero's video. So this is going to be a really, crappy, drunk uncle retelling the news version of Dividing by Zero's video. So what's fascinating about RunAway is it was started by a Twitch streamer. Is that correct? And
he was a streamer primarily on the Korean version of Twitch, which I cannot remember the name of off the top of my head.
Interesting. All right. So
but basically a Twitch streamer.
Right. So he was like, "Hey, I want to start a Contenders team, or rather, I just want to start an Overwatch team." And then he got into the Contenders, and so he did, and they were decent for a while, and then they had lost in the finals and the semifinals. They basically gotten close. They were right there knocking on the door, but they couldn't get over the hump. Then in Korea, you have, I think it's 2 years of mandatory military service for the men. And he had to leave his position as the owner and coach, go do that. And then his wife and the other coach that we just talked about, Young One, kind of took the mantle and they reshaped the team. They ended up winning the Contenders eventually, but it's not all great news because a lot of their players are now poached by the Overwatch League and put on to this expansion team.
Well, I mean, it's great news that the players.
It's great news for the players.
Yeah, it's great news for the players, especially with them all staying together as a unit.
Yeah,
and not just getting individually poached to other random teams.
Right.
That's
probably why you have them ranked so high, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. They have a possibility to be a top 5 team in the league, in my opinion. And a lot of that comes from during their original run in Apex, which was kind of the Asian scene prequel to what ended up becoming the contender system that exists now.
Right.
One of the teams that they upset in their first initial rise, which I think was in Apex Season 2, was a team called LW Blue. And LW Blue had players on their team such as Sabiel B, Pine, Meko, Mano, Jonak, Flower. You might recognize these names as...
maybe. You've heard of these people.
Yeah, you might have heard of these players who are basically the roster of the New York Excelsior right now. So during their come up, they upset a bunch of players who are basically
part of the best
team. What is considered possibly the best team in the league. So they have demonstrated that they can play with the big boys.
So this is really interesting, and I'm kind of surprised in a way that this is really the only expansion team that kind of took this route. Yeah, we've seen other expansion teams have 2-3 players from one Contenders team, but Vancouver was no, just all of them, just put them all on us.
Yeah, it is very surprising. We covered the Charge picking up the Metabellum players, and the Spark have a lot of players that all work together. But the idea of picking up just an entire roster from Contenders, especially potentially at this point, or at that point, the best Contenders team just in the world, right? There were a lot of people who were disappointed that RunAway wasn't signed as a unit last season. The fact that the only had one player who was signed from the Contender Season 1 RunAway roster, and he was signed to, I believe, the Spitfire, and then he was dropped when they restructured. But the fact that none of them were signed, and then they were all signed as a unit, is pretty spectacular in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for this team, honestly. After watching the video by Dividing by Zero and getting like emotionally invested in 20 minutes into this team's history, I'm really excited to see what they can do. And let's start off our coverage of them with Hoxel. And he was formerly on the RunAway. And he's a DPS player who mains Genji and Pharah. Tell me a little bit about him.
Hoxel was most well known as a Genji player back when he originally joined the team. He's one of the original members of RunAway. And at that point, he was very much like the face of the team. The team kind of like picked up all of these like no-name players and kind of just built this like underdog roster. But at the time, the like star player was Hoxel, and he stayed with the team ever since. He is incredibly he's like one of the best Genji players in the world in my opinion. He can just pop off at any moment and just zip around and just like kill the entire team just like randomly.
And then what more can you ask for
right
from a Genji player than just killing the entire enemy team?
It's like almost like an art, right? He just kind of like knows where he has to dash to the next player, and he just like does it so seamlessly that it's like he can see what he has to do like seconds before it even happens. It's crazy. But even on top of that, he's also a very good Pharah player, and he's been recently playing Brigida because, of course, Goats doesn't allow DPS. But he's also a very strong Brigida player. He's had like in the Kong du Panthera finals in Contender Season 2, there was like a couple of times where he would like pop off like rallies at a very great really like necessary times. And then there was moments where he would like combo shield bash with Bumper when Bumper is about to go off on an Earth Shatter, and just like contribute to like a team wipe in that regard. So like Hoxel is very much like a star of the team, and RunAway is kind of known at this point for not really having like a star player, and they kind of just like operate as a unit. They're like almost like a Voltron machine kind of thing.
A Megazord, if you will.
Yeah, like a Megazord, right? But if you can point to one star on the team, it's going to be Hoxel, in my opinion.
Awesome. I mean, hey, like we just said, maybe Jeff will get his back and get a DPS to be a more prominent role going forward in the meta. Let's talk about
Hureg.
Yeah, who was on the RunAway, then the Spitfire. He's a DPS player. He plays Tracer, Doomfist, Soldier 76, McCree, and Widowmaker. Those are his mains. So half the original roster. Plus Doomfist. Now, tell me a little bit about him.
If you were to like list what are probably 4 DPS players, if you include Xiaomansu, Hureg's probably the last, in my opinion, ranked DPS player on the team. And it's interesting. He actually played for when I said that somebody was picked up from RunAway before. That was like Heezy, I believe is his name. Let me see if I can. I want to make sure I get his name right. TZ, yeah. And so TZ was picked up by the Spitfire and then dropped. But Hureg was on Busan before, picked up by the Spitfire, dropped, and then picked up by the RunAway. So, just to like clarify.
Yes. Yeah.
So it is interesting though that he was the one who was like picked up by an Owl team and then released when I would say that he's probably the worst DPS player on the team.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be kind of interesting to see the role that he plays when he's on the Titans, because so far he hasn't been like, he's been kind of a bench player on the RunAway as well, where like supposedly he's doing like decent in scrims and practice and stuff, but he's not really been like shown any kind of like major success in actual like land matches. So we'll see how he's used, but for right now I think that especially with the way the meta is, it's more likely that Hoxel, Stitch, and Siominsu will see play over him.
All right, well, hey, perfect transition. Let's talk about Siominsu. He's a DPS player. He mains Doomfist, Hanzo, Pharah, Zarya, and Brigitte. Tell me a little bit about him.
So he's also a pretty strong player. He kind of fills a similar role as Stitch. I think that Stitch is above him, but he could easily see play coming in on certain maps. His role in the current meta, again, we're talking about DPS players. So in the current meta, it's very tricky. So his role has been pretty limited, but he's been pretty strong.
Not if Jeff has anything to say about it, man.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I don't want to give them credit before they do.
They're actually just gonna buff all the goats.
You get to see like a diva buff and like a.
Yeah. He's like, oh god, I hate Soldier 76. I'm so glad I never have to see him again.
They're actually removing Soldier from the game.
Oh man.
Yeah. So his role in the current meta is kind of up in the air. He's a pretty strong Zarya player, in my opinion. A lot stronger than you would like kind of expect from seeing him play before the last like 4 to 6 months. So yeah, we'll see how the team uses him. I again think that Stitch probably is just going to see more play.
All right, well, tell me a little bit about Stitch. Why do you think this former RunAway DPS player who mains Tracer, Soldier 76, and Widowmaker will see more play over him?
Yes, I think that Stitch again with Hoxel, like they're the original 2 DPS players from the like initial RunAway roster, and so they've played together for years now. And he is an insane Tracer player. And he's also very strong on Widow. Like he's like the 2 DPS heroes that in my opinion, well, on top of Pharah as well, have, in my opinion, the best chance of seeing like a decent play if Goats is put under control. He is like very strong at. There are some like crazy clips you can find of Stitch just going off on Tracer and just like zooming around the map and just like killing everybody. It's really insane. And then on top of that, he is also like a decent Zarya player. In Contender Season 2, he played mostly Zarya, and he is like a solid in that role. So even if Daddy Jeff screws it up and doesn't kill Goats, Stitch will still be a starting player, and was a starting player in Season 2.
All right, tell me a little bit about Janu, South Korean player, formerly of the RunAway. Unless we're talking about Repel, they're all on the RunAway. He is a flex, and it says his main is Diva, so I feel that.
Yeah.
Let me know a little bit about him.
So Janu is going to be the starting off-tank player. He's going to be playing Diva because Diva's in every composition, so there's no reason for him to play any other hero, really.
Right.
But he is, in my opinion, one of the best Divas from Korea. He's like a really versatile player in that role. He's great at just making really quick decisions in like situations that kind of demand more creative play. And I think that he is like a really critical piece in like the RunAway machine. My issue with him is that, which is probably not an issue, is that he shows a lot less comfort on other heroes besides Diva. But like I said, Diva's sees play like 99.9% of the time anyways at this point.
He should be fine.
So
right.
He should be fine, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about Bumper, who is a tank who mains Reinhardt, Winston, Diva, Zaryo, and Lucio.
Bumper has a really interesting history with the team. When he came on the team, Kaiser was still with them as their main tank, and so he was actually in more of a support role. And then when Kaiser left the team, and then Janu moved to like the more off-tank position that he's in now. Bumper kind of moved like all over the team, played a bunch of different roles, and then ended up filling in that main tank slot that was empty. So he has a lot of versatility. He's probably just going to stick in that main tank role because that's what he's been comfortable with in the last 6 months or so. And he is an incredibly good Reinhardt player. So. He's a versatile player. He's great at Reinhardt. He has really good chemistry with other players in the team. He has really great chemistry with Janu. He has really good chemistry with Haksal. And he's been with the team for a long time, so he has a lot of roots in chemistry with the team as a whole. So, but yeah, he's a very good Reinhardt.
Right. All right. So moving on to support player Slime. He mains Lucio, Mercy, and Ana. Tell me a little bit about Slime.
So another player that I would consider like a really great player in their role. He's especially good in Lucio right now, and there have been positions where he's played like a very aggressive Lucio, and he's carried team fights as Lucio. There's a couple of clips of him where he just like absolutely like takes over a team fight, and when you're doing that in a support role, it's that's really something else, because usually that's not really the place that you play, or that's not really the role that you fill as, for instance, Lucio. So he's been great, and he's going to continue to be great. Like, I don't know what to say with a lot of players. Are just like right. They're very good. That's why they're on the team.
Good fucking team. Is what you're saying. Yeah. All right. Well, we're getting down to the end of the list. Some might say the twilight of the list, but other people might respect themselves more than to do something like that. Ben, tell me a little bit about Twilight. He's a support player. He mains Ana and Zenyatta.
Right. So when Twilight started out, he actually was most well known as a Sombra player. He popularized that hero, and he kind of revolutionized a lot of the play on her.
I mean, he's one of the people to figure out a method of playing.
Right. Yeah.
People are going to copy that.
Yeah.
He popularized this style of play.
But since then, he's played a lot of Zenyatta and Ana, and particularly Zenyatta. And again, he's got great synergy with Slime. They've been together for a while. They work well with each other as a support duo, and he will continue to do so on the Titans.
We have one more person. He's the only player to not play for RunAway. His name's Rappel. He's a support player who mains Zenyatta. I could not be more interested about this. Where'd he come from? Why is he on this team with all other RunAway players? And how good is he?
He's actually very good. He's coming from Element Mystic, and he's an incredibly strong Zenyatta player. It is strange, though, that they are going to bring him on as a very strong Zenyatta player when they have Twilight already, who we just talked about, who in my opinion is also a very strong Zenyatta player and has the existing synergy with the team. So I'm not 100% sure what they're trying to do with Rappel and like how they're trying to fit him in, other than just maybe as like a good substitute that they can bring in on a couple of maps if need be, or if like if Twilight gets the flu or something.
Yeah, if he gets hurt, he's their emergency policy. Yeah. And to bring it back to football, he could be the Nick Foles of the team. Really good insurance policy.
I mean, I think that Twilight's better than
right.
But yeah, we'll see.
All right. So, is there anything else you want to touch on this team before we call it an evening?
No, I'm very excited. They are obviously they're like one of the most iconic teams and brands and stories and the history of the sport as a competitive esport. It's really good that they're all still together. It's going to be really interesting to see how well they do in the league. I think that they have the potential. Like, I have them ranked, I would say, number 5 overall right now.
Right. So
I think they have
number 1 expansion, but we're giving a precedent to the existing teams.
Right, because they're proven within. If you told me if somebody came back from the future and told me that the Titans win Overwatch League Season 2, that would not be surprising.
Right. So. Cool. I'm super excited to see how this team plays personally. All right, so Ben, if that's it, I just want to say to everybody, thank you so much for checking out these episodes. It really does mean a lot if you could share them with any of your other friends who are into the Overwatch League. We're going to be doing episodes like this up until the season. Then we're going to be covering the actual matches. So we're not going anywhere. We're really excited to bring you this kind of content. I think Ben has so much knowledge on there that it's like awesome. We can get his voice into the conversation of the Overwatch League. And yeah, like I said, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and check out our other videos. Ben is streaming on YouTube. Jenny is back to streaming on YouTube. You can find me in other random videos, and then Starrykosmik is streaming on twitch.tv/wikieverything. Ben, do you have anything you want to add, such as where people can follow you on Twitter?
You can follow me on Twitter at Ben Sharon. I tweet a lot of random stuff that doesn't necessarily have to do with esports, but I also, do some like self-promotion stuff on there, so you can keep a good handle. I'm probably gonna tweet. I'll probably do a lot of like live tweeting of matches once the league starts back up. So that'll be fun. I know that that's something that you wanted to do as well, is to do more live coverage of the matches into the next season. So that'll be really cool to do that. So
yeah, and of course, if you like what you're hearing here, and you have any questions, concerns, comments, leave them down below. And we're also going to be looking for other people who are interested in talking about Overwatch to potentially have on as guests. So get in touch with us on Twitter at WG Everything, or you can tweet at Ben, or you can tweet at me at the fake BMAR. That's B and then MARR. Thank you all for watching. Good night.